Despite never having been ill before, I found myself being rushed to the hospital in an ambulance, hooked up to an IV in a hospital bed. My husband and my mother-in-law looked down on me with disdain. Even though we're supposed to be a family living under the same roof. What use is a wife who can't even do anything? I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the divorce papers placed in front of me. My name is Maggie, and I'm 52 years old. After losing my parents in an accident as a child, I was raised by my grandmother. I was able to attend vocational school and fulfill my childhood dream of becoming a preschool teacher. I was leading a fulfilling life, but as I passed 30 without so much as a boyfriend, my impatient grandmother introduced me to my current husband, Tyler. Innocent in the ways of romance, I was captivated by his handsome appearance and the gap between his gentle exterior and somewhat forceful interior. As we were growing closer, my grandmother's health suddenly deteriorated, leading us to hastily get married and have the ceremony. Seeing me in my bridal gown, my grandmother passed away peacefully, leaving behind a small inheritance for me. Afterward, at Tyler's insistence that, it looks like I don't make much money, I became a housewife. And we soon used the inheritance as a down payment for a house in an upscale suburb, a high-earning husband and a beautiful new home. I, who had always longed for a family, had no doubt that I would finally find happiness with my family. However, a sad reality soon came crashing down on me. Regrettably, we were unable to have children. By the time we realized the possibility of fertility treatments, it was already beyond the ideal age for childbirth. So we decided to give up on having children and settled for a relatively happy life, just the two of us. But there was one person who couldn't accept that. My mother-in-law, Rachel. Our relationship was never great to begin with, but after giving up on having children, I began to face harassment from her every time I visited home. You're only half a person since you can't have kids, so you better work hard when you come home. Excuse me? Confused by her absurd demands, she smirked and said, "It's nice that Maggie will take care of all the household chores. Let's rest in the living room, shall we?" And, following her lead, the relatives hurried out of the kitchen. While the relatives would say things like, "Thank you, we appreciate it," or, "Let us know if you need anything," not a single one offered to help. Of course, they wouldn't. The words of my domineering Rachel were absolute, and nobody would willingly do the unpleasant tasks of the kitchen. Especially in the cold winters and hot summers. Perhaps due to being in the countryside, my in-laws' household had a strong tendency towards male chauvinism. While the men, led by my father-in-law, drank and made merry, the women were busy with preparations, a scene I could somewhat understand. But I never expected to be left with all these tasks just because we couldn't have children. I can't drink alcohol and would rather deal with the kitchen alone than cater to drunkards, but still. I let out a deep sigh in the solitude of the kitchen. When I came out to the living room to serve the meals, the relatives praised me for taking the initiative to work, but the words that came out of Rachel's mouth were shocking. After I left the room, she would say things like, "A wife who's only good for household chores, and she's so clueless. I have to tell her everything," spewing whatever she wanted. My husband, Tyler, whether he knew of his mother's words or not, continued to happily drink away. I wish he would stand up for me a little. When I whispered to him about Rachel's attitude on the way to the bathroom, he said, "You're just overthinking it," and wouldn't take me seriously. But if I don't show my face at my in-laws during visits, it wouldn't just upset Rachel, but Tyler as well. Continuously busy, by the time I finally had a moment to myself, all that was left for me to eat was leftovers. However, there is one thing I look forward to at my in-laws. It's my niece, Marie, my sister-in-law's daughter. With no other children her age among the relatives, she would often escape the men's boisterous partying and come to the kitchen. "Auntie, there's something I don't understand in my homework. Can you help me?" "Of course, come here." I used to tutor when I was in vocational school, after all. While snacking on sweets, I would teach Marie at the small dining table in the kitchen or play card games with her. Rachel adored Marie, her only granddaughter. The other relatives also doted on her for her charm and intelligence, but she felt pressured by their high expectations. Even though I'm just a primary school student, they're telling me to aim for Harvard or become a politician when I grow up. It's so annoying. That's right. Your life is your own, after all. When I nodded in agreement, she smiled reassuringly. My dream is to work in a job where I can help people. But don't tell Grandma and the others, they're so nosy about everything." Saying that, she put her index finger to her lips and winked. She looked so adorable doing that. I can't help but wonder if our own children would have been like this. Rachel doesn't seem to like that Marie and I are close. But she probably holds back because she's afraid of upsetting her granddaughter by speaking out too much. I adore Marie, and she's very fond of me too. With her around, I was able to get through the tough times when visiting home. As time passed and Marie grew up, she began to help with the household chores that were dumped on me at my in-laws. Gradually, even my sister-in-law, who would sometimes visit, began to help out, and life at my in-laws became a bit more bearable. It happened on a cold day. I was busy with the morning preparations when the phone rang insistently. "What now, first thing in the morning?" Grumbling, Tyler picked up the phone. "Maybe it's urgent business at work." "What?" Startled by his loud voice, I stopped what I was doing. "What's wrong?" "It's Dad." "What?" Apparently, my father-in-law had suddenly passed away. It seems he had a heart attack while going to the cold kitchen to drink water late at night. By the time Rachel found him this morning, he was already gone. Just a month ago, he was so healthy. In any case, Tyler and I rushed to his parents' house. The wake proceeded solemnly amidst the sad atmosphere. That evening, while I was busy tending to the guests, I noticed Tyler and Rachel deep in conversation in a corner of the room. Although I was curious, I didn't have the time to ask at the moment. I thought I could ask later and let it be for now. After the funeral, when we were relaxing at home, Tyler said, "I have something to discuss with you, is that okay?" His demeanor was different from usual, almost hesitant. "What is it? What's wrong?" I straightened up, alerted by his unusual attitude. "I've decided, we're going to live with my mom from now on." "What?" I nearly screamed but managed to swallow it in panic. "How can you just spring this on me all of a sudden? It can't be helped. She is old and it's what Mom wants. The idea of living with Rachel. It's unthinkable. When did you decide this? I haven't heard anything about it. Why do I need your permission? I bought this house, and the person we're going to live with is my own mother. Besides, you have some nerve. Living off my earnings and complaining. This must be what they mean by being speechless. I can't believe he would impose such an outdated mindset on me. I've been doing my best with the household duties. And it was at your insistence that I became a housewife. Don't you dare compare yourself to me when you haven't earned a penny." I shrunk back as he yelled at me. He sighed heavily and glared at me. "Who pays for your phone? Who bought you that new morning outfit? I even cover your cosmetics expenses. Listen, living together is decided. If you don't want to lose your current lifestyle, stop complaining." While it's true that my life has been supported by him, I thought we were working together, with him earning outside and me taking care of the home. I have nowhere to turn for help. I have no family or savings of my own. Finding a job won't be easy. For me, the thought of being away from him was nothing but terrifying. I understand. I had no choice but to accept living together. Ever since Rachel moved in, it's been a real hell. Without the relatives around to see, she tormented me even more than before. Complaining about every little thing I did, from cooking to cleaning and laundry, from morning till night. She would claim the sofa in front of the TV and laze around all day. Every now and then, as if on a whim, she'd go out and splurge on shopping sprees with her pension and the money from selling her house. "Hey, I went out to the station today and bought you your favorite donuts from that cafe you like," she would say upon returning, not even bothering to look at me and starting a conversation with Tyler instead. "Wow, they look delicious." "Huh? There are only two." "Of course, there are two. One for me and one for you. Maggie, make us some tea, will you? Am I a servant here?" If only Tyler would take my side, it might be a bit more bearable. Ever since we started living together, he has been like a child. Believing and prioritizing everything Rachel says over his spouse. Even when I tell him about being at the mercy of Rachel's whims, he'd say, "Don't you feel sorry for my mom? Coming to an unfamiliar place all by herself? Try to be as kind to her as possible, as if it's my fault. Caught between a selfish, mean-spirited mother-in-law and a husband who does everything she says, I began to feel very alone. 3 months into our living together. As usual, after getting ready in the morning and seeing off Tyler, a sudden intense pain struck my stomach. Overwhelmed by the pain, I inadvertently sat down. This is strange, breaking out in a cold sweat. This is bad. Hello? Rachel. I mustered the energy to go back to the living room, where she was watching a drama while drinking coffee, and I tried to get her attention. Could you please hand me my phone over there? I need to call Tyler. Ha? Get it yourself. Besides, he just left for the train, so he won't be able to answer. She wouldn't even consider my urgent situation. My stomach is in extreme pain. I need a car to go to the hospital. For a stomachache? Don't be ridiculous. My son is working hard. Don't you dare bother him with such nonsense. Desperately, I reached for the phone and dialed 911. Soon after, an ambulance with blaring sirens pulled up in front of our house. What, an ambulance? Don't tell me you called it. Surprised by the unexpected turn of events, Rachel was wide-eyed. If I'm not allowed to contact Tyler, what choice do I have? How could you make such a big deal out of this? Unbelievable. Fuming with anger, she glared at me. As she did, the paramedics quickly put me on a stretcher and carried me away. Don't worry, we're taking you to the nearest general hospital. It had been a while since someone spoke to me so kindly. As I felt a moment of relief, my consciousness began to fade. When I came to, I was lying in a hospital bed. It was already dark outside, and there sat my elegantly dressed Rachel and Tyler, still in his suit, frowning beside me. According to Dr. Brandon, it seems I had developed a gastric ulcer. After Dr. Brandon left, having informed me of a week-long hospital stay, Tyler let out a deep sigh. You collapsed right after I left for work, didn't you? Is he concerned about me? A small glimmer of hope lit up in my heart. But I was gravely mistaken. Why didn't you call me back instead of calling an ambulance? Such an overreaction. What? The small flame in my heart was extinguished in an instant. It felt as if the candle of hope had been viciously snuffed out at its base. You always do this, getting your priorities all wrong. That's why you can't manage household tasks efficiently and end up stressed. Bringing such trouble upon us. No. The main source of my stress is 70% Rachel and 30% you. I said in my mind. I was too appalled to speak. As soon as I fell silent, Rachel said with a smirk. A housewife's job is to take care of the household. Yet here you are, taking a week off for hospitalization, abandoning your duties. You're a failure as a wife. Let's get that divorce underway. In her wrinkled hand, she clutched a form with lines on it. Yes, it was a divorce paper. Exactly. Mom is absolutely right. He carelessly agreed and began filling out the form with a smirk. Wait, just a minute. I panicked. What would become of me if I were abandoned now? I tried to snatch the documents from him, but my body wouldn't move as I wished. When I finally managed to grab the completed form from him, he laughed heartily as if amused by my distress. See, she can't live without me. Watching me crumple the divorce papers in despair, Rachel sneered, getting all flustered, it's pathetic, and laughed merrily with Tyler. Stunned, I watched as he placed my favorite bag and an envelope in front of me. I've brought the essentials for your hospital stay. We're both busy, so get anything else you need yourself. This should be enough. Inside the envelope was money that seemed to be for hospital expenses. Oh, thank you. I guess I used up our savings, huh? No way. As if I'd do something that wasteful. My flicker of hope was extinguished once again. I canceled your insurance. You've been enrolled for so long that the surrender value was quite significant. Don't worry about the amount in the envelope, use it as you need. We'll use half for our living expenses. Despite having savings together, he canceled my insurance without my consent. And half for living expenses? Are they planning to use it for a vacation while I'm hospitalized? I was certain of it. They couldn't care less about me. I was both sad and furious. Glancing down, I noticed the divorce paper. The divorce is just a joke. Relax. Noticing my stunned gaze, he shrugged off with a silly grin. A joke, after going as far as to sign it? I glared at them incredulously, but they were still chuckling. At that moment, something inside me snapped. Why am I even trying to be a family with these people? That envelope doesn't include your fare home. Call us when you're discharged. I quietly crumpled the divorce paper as I watched the two of them leave. Distractedly, I opened my bag. Inside, along with my wallet and a pen, were just a few added towels. I didn't expect those two to know where my pajamas and underwear were, so this was expected. I'll need to buy almost everything new. As I sighed, the curtain around my hospital bed softly opened. A nurse, perhaps? I slowly looked up, and couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. No way. There stood Marie, my beloved niece, now a grown and competent nurse. In this unexpected reunion, we joyfully clasped hands. As I shared the story of my hospitalization, she became as indignant as if it were her own issue. To have an ally here of all places. I was so moved I felt like crying. And then, it struck me as an opportunity. I couldn't rest until I had given those two a taste of their own medicine. I decided to devise a plan with her. About a week later, free from the stress caused by Tyler and Rachel, I had recovered well and was set to be discharged tomorrow. I was making a phone call in the empty ward when they arrived unannounced. We got the notice of your discharge from the hospital. Tyler announced as he and Rachel rudely barged in. He was carrying a bag from his favorite cafe. We have to visit the wife at least once for appearances. Can't let people talk. I took the phone away from my ear, placed it face down on the table, and remained seated on the bed as I expressed my gratitude. Thank you for coming all this way. Rachel and Tyler pulled chairs up to the bed and sat down. You've had enough rest. You'll need to start working efficiently again from tomorrow. What an abrupt greeting. As expected, the paper bag on the table held 2 donuts. While claiming it was a visit, none were meant for me. Why don't you go buy some tea from the shop downstairs? You can manage that much hospitality, right? Tyler took his precious time off to come here. I don't have any money left. I had to spend quite a bit on pajamas and underwear. As I shook my head, she clicked her tongue in clear annoyance. Not satisfied with just causing trouble by being hospitalized, you're even stingy about buying a single tea? What a lazybones. And I wonder who the real lazybones is? Just then, the curtain dividing the bed whisked open, revealing a smiling female nurse. Is it fun to bully your daughter-in-law in the hospital, Grandma? Rachel's face turned pale, her mouth open in shock. Of course. Standing there was her beloved granddaughter, now a working nurse. This isn't Marie's hospital, is it? How come you're here? I've just transferred to this hospital. It was quite a shock for me too. I was called in to help in this ward and then found my aunt here with a gastric ulcer. You don't even drink or smoke. I was skeptical hearing about it, but after witnessing your exchange, I'm convinced. Shivering under Marie's icy gaze and words, Rachel struggled for a response. No, you're misunderstanding something, Marie. Making excuses is futile. I said, which only served to enrage Rachel. Stay out of this. I could, but you know, everything gets out eventually. I lifted my phone, showing its screen to her. Displayed was my sister-in-law's name, indicating an ongoing call. How deceitful of you. Tyler's rebuke was barely out when her voice thundered through the phone in speaker mode. What kind of behavior is this, knowing your own wife is hospitalized? Enough already. Even typically assertive Tyler seemed to shrink under her stern scolding. Both my sister-in-law and niece, in stark contrast to Tyler and Rachel, possess a strong sense of justice. Eavesdropping on the conversation between Tyler, Rachel, and me in the hospital room was a strategy proposed by my sister-in-law. Observing now diminished Tyler and Rachel, I hastily thanked her. Thank you. I ended the call and fixed my gaze on slumped Tyler. This past week wasn't just for rest. You filled out a divorce paper a week ago, remember? I accept it, let's get divorced. Eh? He gaped at me, surprised. Understandably. He likely never imagined a housewife with no job or home would willingly give up her current life. His dumbfounded expression nearly made me laugh. Seemingly offended by my reaction, he retorted, "With no job or home, what do you plan to do?" I calmly responded, "I'll work at this hospital." A nurse supervisor who lives nearby and knows Marie helped me get this job quickly after I explained my situation. I never expected to benefit from neighborhood connections like this. He scoffed, "You're not a doctor or nurse. How can you work in a hospital?" Then Marie smiled and gently explained, "Uncle, you really don't know anything. General hospitals employ various professionals. Not just doctors and nurses." Eh? Catching dumbfounded his expression from the corner of my eye, she winked at me. It was the kind of eye contact we used to share while studying or playing card games at my in-laws. I've secured a job as a childcare worker in the hospital's childcare facility for sick children. They have a dormitory, so accommodation won't be an issue, I declared with conviction. Rachel, speechless, placed a hand on Tyler's shoulder and glared at me, extending her wrinkled hand. "Don't joke around. If you're no longer my daughter-in-law, you'll have to repay all the hospital expenses." "No, I'll be keeping this. And as for the divorce settlement, I'll be sending you the bill later." Eh? Do you know about asset division? During a divorce, I can claim half of the assets we accumulated together. What are you saying? She trembled. Tyler looked at me in dismay and shook his head, but I just smiled back at him. Moreover, since the stress caused by you and your mother led to my hospitalization, I'll also be claiming compensation. We even have a witness here. Marie's icy gaze bore into Rachel. Unable to withstand the unexpected turn of events, Rachel and Tyler quickly fled the room. Left behind were just the two donuts. "Marie, you've always had a sweet tooth, right? It'd be a shame to waste these, go ahead and enjoy them." Handing over the paper bag, she nodded with the same bright smile she had as a child. The next day, I was discharged from the hospital and submitted the divorce papers. Subsequently, in exchange for not pursuing alimony, I received a substantial settlement for the division of assets. I later learned, possibly through Marie's supervisor, that Tyler and Rachel had become notorious in the neighborhood as the villains who sent their daughter-in-law to the hospital. As I was adjusting to my new life, Marie, who lived in the same dorm, kept me updated about the two of them. After that, they lived together for a while, but elderly Rachel couldn't keep up with the household chores demanded by her son, leading to days filled with arguments. She attempted to seek refuge with my sister-in-law, but having been disliked by her own daughter for years, she was promptly refused. Naturally, this became known to all the relatives, leading to a state of estrangement. Even the biannual family gatherings have since dissipated. As for me, under the guidance of younger colleagues, I'm finding fulfillment in the challenges of returning to work after a long hiatus. The affectionate reach of the children's tiny hands is incredibly precious to me. Marie and I, as colleagues and friends, sometimes enjoy tea together, though I may not have a family of my own. I cherish the dear friend who's like a daughter to me and the children who are as adorable as grandchildren. This is enough for me to feel truly happy. During nap time in the childcare room, I gently patted the back of a little girl, and her soft breathing began to fill the room.